Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Witten and Andy Fenton on Fridays. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chats. Marvellous Monday. Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are. If you think it's Get Rich Quick, you're in the wrong place. This is the wrong podcast. This is the wrong life for you. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat. Hope you're all awesome and well.
Good morning, everyone. Morning. Sun's coming straight through my windows this morning. Check out that brightness. Tell you what, wasn't like that about 30 seconds ago. But welcome, team. Morning. Happy Wednesday to wherever you're tuning in this morning. Maybe give me a bit of a shout out, the chat team. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Always good to, let you see where you guys are tuning in from, where your investment properties are too, from a property management perspective, because today's topic, it's all going to be about what happened in 2024. We might deep dive into some rent predictions, see how those predictions ended up so far throughout the year, and see if we're on track or off track as a team. But today, team, if you haven't seen me around before, you haven't met me, my name is Cass, representing the property management team, and part of that overall 6-star team that you heard in the intro. And always a good reminder, check out the podcast. Sam's always dropping a really good one every week, every Wednesday, I think, so stay tuned. There might be that one, his latest one, dropping a bit later today. But team, if you haven't been here before, welcome. 8:10 Queensland time, 9:10 down south. We jump on Wednesday, talk all things property management, which is really cool. So we're going to get it stuck in this morning and go from there. So if you guys are on, I can see Alison. Welcome, morning, Bunty. Thanks for coming back, mate. Chris, good to see you again. Good to hang out last week. And Alison's from Darwin. Yes, check it out. How good, team. Well, hopefully you are all nice, safe, and well. Where you guys are tuning in from. Justin's here as well. Morning, Justin. Good to see you. Awesome, team. All right. Well, look, let's get stuck in, team. Get on with the show. Bit of rent growth market update. In 2024, and I actually found an old video, an old post. A bit of data that came out from SQM Research. You guys might know by now, I kind of like a bit of that data, especially when it comes to rents. It's a really good tool for us property managers, and of course you guys as well as landlords and investors there to, make some really good decisions throughout your tenancies when it comes to rent reviews and things like that. So I thought we'd check in on that. It's about this time of year that SQM, I think it's November, so maybe I'm a few weeks early, but it's about this time of year SQM will come out and potentially put out some, a bit of a review on the year, and they'll also potentially look to, put some predictions out there for 2025. So I thought I'll beat them to it and get in early and let you guys know what I'm thinking, and maybe get your thoughts as well. It'd be really good to hear. So let's jump into it, team. So I'm just going to do something really quickly and share my screen. Hopefully you guys can see this. 2 seconds as I work through the technology. Warren did tell me this morning if I needed help to come on. I should have listened, but there you go. So team, end of 2023, This was from SQM Research. It was a bit of a housing boom and bust report, looking at dwelling rents, average dwelling rents for 2024 and what those forecasts were. Does anyone remember seeing this at about sort of Q4 last year, or maybe you saw me share it earlier this year? G'day, Luke. William's you as well, popping in from Brisbane. Amazing, William. Thanks for tuning in. Anyone remember these predictions back at the start of the year? We were sort of looking at, obviously, the major cities around the country. We're looking at average rents and looking at that 12-month forecast. Well, here we are. We're at the end of that 12-month cycle, that period of time, and I thought we'd check out what that looks like. So, for markets like Perth, Brisbane, particularly at the top, obviously there's some really good double-digit growth predicted in that space. You're looking at those average rents around that sort of early to mid sixes. Let's have a look at whether that's pushed up. Alison there, Darwin, for where you are. Did they sort of receive any growth there, be it minimal? Melbourne, Sydney. Let's have a look at what happened to those two major hotspots. Maybe Adelaide is a surprise packet. I'm not too sure, but let's check it out. And obviously Canberra, let's check that out if that's sort of steadied on. So let's have a look, team. So I've just taken a screenshot on a couple of these cities, and you'll sort of see from Perth. So if we go back here, Perth said we're going to have 12 to 15% rent growth. Average dwelling rental weekly amount there, $656. I can tell you, team, that's up to now $715. So the average dwelling in Perth has moved from mid sixes to $715 dollars per week. So I think everyone would say that Perth might be the number one hotspot in 2024. Alison says, "Yeah, lucky both my properties there are in Brisbane." Absolutely, Alison. I'm going to share with you exactly what that looks like in a second. Really good stuff happening in Perth, right? Really, really good. Is that trend going to continue? So, double-digit growth there for apartments and unit complexes over there in Perth. Houses obviously contributed to pretty good strength. So pretty spot on there, I suppose, with what was predicted to happen in Perth. So if you jumped on that bandwagon, good on you. If you able to increase your rent, 8, 9, 10% over in Perth, good work. If you didn't, maybe we've got some work to do. Let's have a look at the next one. Brisbane. Here we go. Alison, Luke's online. Justin as well. This might be really relevant to you guys. So what happened in Brisbane, right? We were sort of predicting a little bit there. Now, the shift in sort of the average weekly rent has gone from $635 to $660. You might remember the previous year prior, Brisbane sort of exploded, right? And there was kind of like that 15, 20% plus rent growth. So really cool to see, Brisbane, the market's still moving, and it's all greens there for that 12-month change, which is super cool to see. Like I say, average rents continuing to go up there by about $25 per week in 2024, which is probably, from my perspective on the ground here in Brisbane. For those that don't know, I am in Brisbane. It's where I spend a lot of my time. But, from a leasing perspective, this sort of data there, we're still seeing good numbers come through. Sydney, despite, maybe some of the things you hear in the media, still had a bit of growth there, just under 3%. So, when you're having a look at what Sydney was supposed to do, 7 to 10%, average rent $815. Now probably didn't get the 10% growth that it potentially was predicted to at the start of the year. Maybe there's some other factors contributing to that. But you'll see, obviously, the year prior to that, you'll see that 3-year change is quite healthy. Average weekly rent in Sydney went from $815 per week to $833. So again, still that nice little increase there on the average weekly rents. Melbourne, there might be some commentary that Melbourne might be went backwards, but I can tell you, team, it still went ahead from a rental perspective. Right, average weekly rent in Melbourne this time last year, $595 per week, now $625. Right, $625 today, team, in Metro Melbourne potentially just gets you a 2-bedroom apartment in most cases. We've got a fair few of those on the market at the moment, and it's kind of cool to see that. So we might have a bit of a prediction in Melbourne in a moment. And Adelaide. Now, what was Adelaide before? Adelaide was 4 to 7% average weekly rent, $546. check this out. Adelaide, what a hotspot in 2024 it has been. 10% combined, nearly 11% there. I should read that properly. 12-month rent growth there for the city of Adelaide. So some really good stuff. And a lot of that growth, team, that we're seeing from a rental perspective in 2024 came in the first half of the year, kind of that quarter three of 2024 across the country. Vacancy rates kind of steadied, right? They sort of steadied. Now, again, for context, they are super, super low, but we sort of saw that come through. So, there's a few things there, team, to, if I can get rid of that. Let me see if I can get back on track here with the camera. Looks like that worked. Team. So, team, again, what do we take away from that? Well, look, Perth, Brisbane, Adelaide, massive hotspots in 2024. Will that trend continue? For Melbourne, I don't know. Maybe SQM will prove me wrong, but I'll tell you what. I think 2025 for Melbourne might be quite buoyant. I think the Melbourne market is primed and ready to go in 2025. So we'll stay tuned. But I think team, when we look back at some data at the start of the year and we say, hey, listen, we think it's going to do this, and based on X, Y, and Z, and we compare it to, compared to what kind of conversation, and we get the right evidence, the right team around us, you can sort of start to put the pieces together in the puzzle. And what that does, team, and what I've seen is the clients that have taken on that information or have been able to actually get that rent growth, right? So, how could you have seen rent growth in 2024, right? Now, based on those slides and that information, one thing we could have done was just let the market dictate that to us. Let the market take control of the property and allow that rent growth to happen. Now, if you had done that plan, fantastic, but you only would have received rent growth, right, if you went to market. If you've got a tenant in place and they didn't move out and you weren't on the market, then, how does that sit? Did you get the 5-10% in those particular cities that data is showing, right? So did you want to let the market just do the work? Letting the market do the work is just a combination of a few other things, right? What else could we have done? We could have had an enhanced leasing and marketing campaign, right? Here we sit here on Wednesdays and we talk about these operational things and these strategies. If you implemented anything that we spoke about in 2024, then potentially your leasing marketing campaign would have enhanced, allowing you to attract a better quality tenant potentially, and getting that uplift in rent. So you could have done that and got a bit of a win there, right? Could you have a property manager who negotiated a better deal? Potentially, that could have been one thing you did. Building trust with your tenant to ensure they stay longer. Obviously, we discuss here on Wealth Coffee Chats that that's a really important part of the strategy. The longer your tenant's in the property, the less wear and tear, the less cost there is to you. But ultimately, if you've got this level of a trust and the market around you is going up, there is that opportunity to increase that rent and have that great working relationship there. And of course, one thing we always love doing is, every 12 months doing that annual rental health check, doing that annual rent review on the property, and using some of this information from SQM in this case to allow us to make, better informed decisions. So 2025, team, anyone got any predictions for 2025 before I jet? We think we're going to see 2024 repeat potentially. For the most part, right around the country, rents went up. Right, that's what was said at the start of the year. That's basically what's happened. 2025, will that be any different? What we do know is supply is really low. The amount of property coming through the pipeline is obviously low. That's a conversation for another day. And demand is still there, team. I can certainly see that. Right, and what we're seeing now, maybe as rents stabilize, and you see some of those cities, it's kind of like Canberra, for example, 2024, it kind of didn't really go backwards, it didn't really go up, it just kind of sort of steadied out in that space. And what we're seeing there is maybe there's an affordability challenge or conversation coming through. Right, tenants are not just going to keep paying, rents as they keep going up. So right, really interesting conversation there. Chris says here's a run of townhouse due for renewal. Yep, need to do a rent review. Team, have a look at it now. In most states and territories, when you do rent reviews, if you're looking to increase the rent, if it's valid, of course, based on the evidence, you need to get ahead of that game 60 to 90 days prior to the tenancy. So listen, team, if you've got a lease expiring in the next 90 days, now's the time to probably start looking at that and seeing what's what's happening out there. For me, 2025, I think it'll continue. To what level of growth? Well, maybe I'll hold my tongue and wait for that data, but certainly I think markets like Melbourne, Brisbane, Sydney will continue to push ahead given low supply, and the demand will still be there, right? So that's my 2 cents, but hey, look, a few predictions in January and they all came true, which is really cool to see. So that'll be it for me today, team. I've got to run. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for participating, as always. Sounds like you guys all got a win in 2024 so far. Still a few weeks left to Christmas, so still some time. And, team, if you ever get stuck, ever got some questions, need a rent review like Chris, potentially in your portfolio, drop me a note on that email address coming across your screen. Always happy to help, team. We're going to make sure that, we keep you safe and help you maintain your wealth. And part of that is that rental conversation. So listen, if that's important to you, drop me a link. We'll chat. So team, thanks for playing full out. That is me done and dusted. Wealth Coffee Chats over an hour on a Wednesday. And don't forget tomorrow, Thursdays, Jason will be back 8:10 for the Queenslanders, 9:10 for the Southern States, or have a look at your local guide. Can't keep up with all these daylight savings times, but that's it. Over and out, team. Catch you again. See you.
Episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Improve your portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other podcasts from the 6-Star team here at positivementor.com.au.